everyone, and welcome to Dimes with Dara on the Joyce Lot podcast, brought to you by IrishSportsDaily.com. I am Ge Wang. That is Dara Mabrey, and it is time to get buckets. We are going to talk about Notre Dame women's basketball off to a 4-0 start. They are playing great right now. Everything is looking very, very good. They've got a huge matchup on the road this Saturday against the number 3 ranked USC Trojans. I am going to be in attendance. I'm going to cover this event. It's going to be great. So can't wait for that game. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about everything that we've seen from the ladies so far this year. And we're going to get an update on my podmate here. She is in Europe, in Hungary. We've alluded to it on previous pods. We can finally talk about her situation. She is getting buckets. She played a first game back, 16 points, right? I don't want to hear any of this humble brag stuff. I don't want humility here. We're celebrating my friend and what she's doing professionally out in Europe. So we're going to talk about that, and it's going to be a fun time. So thank you everyone for tuning into our show. If you haven't caught us, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Soon, whatever it is, we're going to go live, and links to the podcast are in the description below. As always, Dara, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing. Now, Dara, we need to let people know there's a special Black Friday deal that's going off for ESQ and the Notre Dame game, the Notre Dame football game against Army on Saturday. Ge Wang, Notre Dame alum, has been doing this for over a decade. What he's doing is he's going to offer the percentage off of however many points Notre Dame scores against Army. They score 35 points, you get 35% off. Score 40 points, 40% off. If it's 20 points, 20% off, right? So we're going to be rooting for points against Army. And then for the next week, that special is going to be live on ESQ Clothing, shoots, bomber jackets, shirts, tuxedos, whatever it is you're looking for. The only thing is it's not eligible for gift cards. So head over to ESQ Clothing, check out for the next week the Black Friday special they got going on. It's going to be great. Dara, You're in Europe. You're making it happen. Let's talk about your situation right now. Where are you at? What is your your who you're playing for, how it's all going? Let us know. Let the people know.
Okay, life update. Because we were in limbo for a little bit. We were just referencing me in Europe, but I finally settled on a team in a town called Segled, about 40 minutes outside of Budapest. I've been here for about a week and a day. It's amazing. It's quite the experience. I'm learning a completely different culture, catching on to a really tough language, making new relationships, and getting buckets, as we say. So I'm having a great time over here. I'm definitely adjusting. I'm not jet lagged because I've been over here for about a month now. But I visited Milan last week and I got to see my sister. It was absolutely amazing. And then I ran into fellow Notre Dame women's basketball alum, Catherine Westbeld, this past weekend in Budapest, because she also plays in the Hungarian league and she is thriving. She leads the league in a lot of categories. So shout out to her. Yeah. And that was really cool to have a familiar face, see someone that I'm actually very close with, given, our family background through Notre Dame. But I, have made my apartment feel like a home as much as I can. And yeah, honestly, kudos to me for getting back and everything that I went through since 2023 to be out there on the court, like scoring and having fun is everything that, I put my mind and heart to this past year. And it's just really nice to see it, but to feel it come to life.
How hard was it your first game? Just like getting back into the flow of, I think you've been scrimmaging, right? Like you've been in like scrimmage type situations, but games are different, right? They just bring a different energy. Like, what was that like for you? Just kind of getting back in for the first time in a really long time.
I felt great. I made it back to game shape. Shout out to everyone at Notre Dame. Coach Carlos Knox kind of like put me through the ringer trying to get me back into game shape before I came over here. So shout out to him. I would say I'm adjusting a little bit. The game is played a little bit differently, and it's definitely called differently. the refs don't like me over here. That's not to say that they did like me in America, but I think it's a little different now. I haven't been getting along with the refs over here, but I'm working on it. We're going to build some friendships for sure. So that's definitely an adjustment that I've been having to work on over here. And then I was proud of how I handled the physicality. I knew that they were preparing me for that a lot. Just building my lower body and my core, because the physicality over here is a lot different. You can just like intentionally foul people just to stop them in transition, and like it's not called like intentionally. That's a common adjustment that I've seen. But honestly, like it's just refreshing. Like I don't even care like how many times I hit the ground, fall, get fouled super hard. Every time like I feel tired, like that little thought in my head, it just always pops up like you are dying to be here. So I just like I feel like I have a different aura, like a different like vibrance, like when I'm playing in the game. It just feels so different now. I'm so happy to be doing it. It's not that I wasn't before, but it's like it's definitely a deeper appreciation when you're doing something that, you know, you were told by a couple doctors that you might not be able to do it again. So it's just a different feeling.
What you said it's called different, but it sounds like it's more physical, which I think would benefit you. Like, in what way is the way that's called differently kind of affecting you, I guess?
Yeah, so like it's the pros. So like I would say it's in college, like I wasn't picked up full court every single time. And here you're usually picked up full court. So it's like a battle. You got to bring her down. You have to use your lower body. You have to initiate the contact. And in college, it's just a lot different. Like, and they call the game different. They let a lot go. Like you can be super handsy on the ball, which has also benefited me because I really like to get up and pressure on defense. And like I can hit the ball handler a little bit more. But other like just tactical things is like I know my first workout over here, my coach was like, I was doing like putting my leg down with the ball, like the ball in my leg at the same time. And he was like, they're going to call that a travel. So I've been trying to adjust like in my workouts, putting the ball down with my opposite foot. It's just little tiny things that you have to get used to. And then at the same time though, like they do let a lot of traveling go. And that's kind of the one thing that I was like getting into it with the ref about was I was like, she's traveling. And he was like, miss it. That's not a travel over here. And I was like, okay, say less. I'll shut my mouth then. So it's an adjustment, but it's cool. Like it's so much fun over here. The women play super hard. The fans come out and they support you, and like being to like able to inspire like younger Hungarian girls like and other little girls all over Europe is just like so cool. Like it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. How has your game changed since the last time you were in a competitive situation? Just through time and knowledge, wisdom. How are you kind of a different player? How are you a better player than you were last time you were out?
I play the one over here a lot more than I did in college, which is really cool because I have like different responsibilities and duties. And I'm attempting a lot more shots than I did in college. I have a larger scoring responsibility, which is really cool. And like I am dripping in confidence right now. I feel like I'm in great game shape, that I'm adjusting to the physicality, that I'm getting used to it pretty early, which is obviously a concern, like when you're a rookie and coming off of injury. But it's all just like coming to life. And I would say that I'm taking a lot more shots in the paint than I used to, which is really cool because you know, if they do decide to double or if they decide to throw some extra help, I'm still like passing. Where like in college, Olivia was able to do most of the passing, like just because of team dynamic and what positions and situations we were in. But I'm getting the opportunity to show off my passing a lot more, which is really cool, which is also a big difference. But other than that, same old me. Yep, getting buckets out there.
Getting buckets. No, it's good. It sounds like you're able to kind of expand your game a little bit just from listening to you. The scoring. I'll use the word repertoire is being being showcased. Thank you very much. Look, I dug deep for that. It seems like it's being showcased just listening to you, and
It
the
is, yeah.
confidence. I think you're talking about running the one too. Like I think for your talking to you as much as I have over the last year, like I'll also say the word like your spirit. It's good for your spirit. I think is that you're kind of in charge and you have a lot of responsibility. And I think you thrive off of having responsibility. You've
Yes.
kind of always wanted it. So that's great to hear. And we can, maybe on a future podcast, we can talk about what the last couple of months have been for you. Just
Mhm.
listening into how things have been rapidly changing, right? Like we thought it would be one thing and then another thing and another thing. You're finally settled. I'm personally happy that you're able to finally 2 feet on the ground and you have. We're gonna go build now, and we're gonna
Yeah,
actually
totally.
go towards this. Like you've been through a lot. So look, we're all proud of you and we're all rooting for you and in your career here, we'll be able to follow it. I am personally very grateful that you we're doing the pod, Greg. Like we're not doing it, right? Like you were very committed and everything, and I was gonna give you space. I was like, whatever. Like
I know.
I can
You were
adjust.
like, do you think? Yeah, and I was like, what do you mean? Yeah.
So the show goes on as they say. So speaking of the show going on, let's talk about ladies women's basketball for Notre Dame. I think everyone was anticipating the return of Olivia Miles. A couple of returns, right? The Dara Mabrey return and Olivia's return. She hit the ground running. She has been. I don't want to say better than advertised, right? I think people just didn't know, right? Is there going to be rust? Is there going to be a drop off? What is it going to look like? It's been amazing. She has completely integrated herself into the team. She is one of the engines on the team. And through 4 games, she's shooting 55%. She's shooting 47% from 3 right now. Like we were talking about before the show, her and Hannah have the exact same averages on 3-point shooting this year. Talk about just that specific part of Olivia's game, because that was not a strength of her game as a
Totally.
freshman. And
Mhm.
if shooting 47%, I imagine there's going to be some regression there. Because 47% is like one of the best shooters like nationally, right?
Yeah.
That's not the expectation, I don't think, but if she regresses to somewhere like 38, 39, 40%, like that is a huge difference in the way that teams have to guard her, have to approach her. Just kind of talk about that. I know you've been working out there and she's been there,
Right.
how much she's worked
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that
yeah.
and
Mhm.
what you're kind of seeing from her so far in 2024, 25.
Yeah. It's super cool to see that come to life because that was a big thing that they worked on, especially her and my sister together in the off season, was improving her shot behind the 3. And I remember playing with her freshman, sophomore year, her years, they would always go underneath the ball screen. And then they would start sagging off on her so uh that she couldn't penetrate going downhill. And then
Mm-hmm.
obviously they would just help. Now, like with her 3, you have to go over the screen. And then if she doesn't shoot the 3, now Olivia Miles is coming at your defense full speed downhill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously a very big problem. And then if you do throw the help, now you have Hannah on the other side. If you hedge, you can just put Hannah on that side, and Hannah can be the one coming up when her defender tags the roller. So it's just great for the team. Obviously, it's great for her. And when you look ahead, it's even better for her. Like, I know she has another year left, whatever she decides to do, like looking at
Mm-hmm.
her pro career, that's also huge.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, like outside the team and just for her and her personal journey. So her 3 improving, and it's nice. And it's not just like a spot up 3. Like I know, like in the first game, she hit a between the legs, behind the back, step back 3. Like it was
Yeah.
nothing. Even weight distribution, which is also something that you think about coming
Mm-hmm.
back from injury. And when you talk about rust and stuff like that, yes, like injury rust is a thing. But if you have a good medical team behind you, like she and I did at Notre Dame, people like get lost in the fact that when you rebuild your leg, you're rebuilding your entire body, and you have to strengthen everything in your body
Mm-hmm.
around your knee before you can start progressing your knee, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it just benefits you as a whole. Like, she looks slimmer, she looks faster, she's getting downhill. Like, it's no surprise to me. I saw her come back. Like, there's no rust, in my opinion. Unless, fake it until you make it. Unless, like, she's dying, getting back into game
Yeah.
shape. She's doing a really good job hiding it, but I don't think that that's the case.
Yeah. I mean, some of the passing is just out of this world.
Unbelievable.
It's just out of this world. It's not it's not in college basketball right now, aside from what Olivia Miles is doing.
No, like,
It's
college
incredible.
men or women, no one passes the ball like she
Yeah,
does.
like the game. I think it was Purdue. The 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 behind the back thing, like
No,
that's incredible. Like and I think her and Hannah, like, it was so talked about how they're going to coexist. Those two very clearly thrive off each other. They have the same energy, and I think that Olivia has really given Hannah kind of like a running mate. Because the thing with Hannah, and we talked about it a ton last year, is like she is so fiery, she is so
right.
competitive, and it's very unlike in a demonstrative kind of way. Like, it's very unlike certainly Sony, right? Sony is not like that. Like, she's very even, right? Not that she's not competitive, but she's not outward like
Yeah.
that. I don't think I don't think Maddie is really either. Olivia is like, they are like tag team sisters. Like, those two, and
Yeah.
I tweeted it out during the game. Like, they play like they want to be hated, and they want to be hated by the opponent. They're up 30 points talking trash to the Purdue band. Like, they are coming after you. Like, they want they want your soul. They're going to tell you about it. Like, those two are like spirit animals playing together. It's kind of unbelievable to watch.
So cool. Yeah.
I was thinking, and I really wanted to ask you about this, because just watching them play, it occurred to me that there are going to be so many teams that can't play in the mess the way Notre Dame can play in the mess. Everything, because I was watching Purdue and I was like, man, this game is way too frantic for Purdue, and Notre Dame is very comfortable playing this way. And not just that, but I think someone like Leatu, who we're going to talk more about in a second, Leatu is also very comfortable playing in kind of the mess and the chaos, right? And I
Right.
think for Notre Dame, with Hannah, with Olivia, and with Leatu especially, like, that is very much controlled chaos for them, and they are very comfortable playing that way. And I don't
Totally.
know that a lot of teams are. Like, they just can't handle it. Purdue just simply could not handle the pace that Notre Dame wanted to play at all times. And I think that's going to be a huge problem for so many opponents, right? We'll see how it works out with USC coming up, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just their style of play is going to eliminate some teams just because they cannot play like that. I was just kind of curious to get your thoughts on that.
Totally. I mean, you put it the perfect way. That Purdue game was over in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whether, each team does have their runs and stuff, but, like, I think about when you want to scout Notre Dame, what do you do? Do you help on Olivia? That's hard because she can pass, and now you have shooters spotting up, and you have good rebounders. Everyone has to box out, and then what are you going to do? Are you going to throw two at people in transition, play junk defense, go make miss, zone, man to man? What do you do to possibly slow them down? Is a really tough question, and this is what we talked about on our last pod with all the weapons, handling them.
Mm-hmm.
And Leah too is huge. She came from Pitt, where they played really chaotic defense. They were allowed to shoot a lot of shots and then run after their rebounds. She's a perfect fit for Notre Dame. And that's not saying that we play that way, because we don't play that way, but we do like to push and transition, and we do like to get up and pressure on defense. So yeah, I think it's complementary to the team having Hannah and Olivia together, and then everyone, like, it's just a great balance of personalities and how they are on the court. But yeah, I'm excited for us to get into this USC game and see what we come up with here.
Leah too. She's averaging 27 minutes a game, shooting 74%. 27 minutes. 18 points a game in 27 minutes, averaging like essentially 10 rebounds, right? 3 offensive rebounds per game. That'll get it done. And the thing is they don't have to feed her. Like, she is just a perfect complementary piece for for the rest, to take advantage of what the rest of Notre Dame has. If you're getting on offensive boards, if you're getting rebounds for yourself, if you're running the floor, you are going to score points just by nature of your activity and your movement and your knowledge of the game. And that is how she has scored points. They can also just, we've had a couple empty possessions. Let's throw it into Leah too in the post, and she'll get us a good shot. That was not there last year, just because the caliber player wasn't. I mean, Leah she's a great college player.
She's just so solid and smart. Like you can't come and play at Notre Dame if you don't have the IQ. And she's just always in the right spot, doing the right thing. She's a great addition to the team. And I was really happy when she decided to come here.
Yeah, I think Cass Prosper.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really gelled into this team. Just kind of like, she's the 6th player right now. She's averaging 11 points a game.
She's so confident. You can tell.
The 6th leading scorer on the team is Sonia at 10 points a game.
Right.
Like that is your 6th leading scorer. You know,
right.
Like that is just kind of like shows the depth of what Notre Dame is. I am kind of curious about how you feel like Sony is gelling into this right now. At the moment, it doesn't really matter. I do feel like a player of her caliber is going to be counted on to not be the 6th leading scorer on the team. How do you see that fitting in? I'm not saying it's a problem right now. I'm just saying it's something they do need to. I don't want to say solve, figure out, however you want to do that. Like, it does need to get better from her. And I'm not saying there's anything she's doing wrong. I think it's just the nature of the way their games have gone. Where do you think there will be more opportunities for her going forward?
I think her opportunities are there. I just think that she hasn't made as many shots as she would like the past 2 games. And obviously, like, it's okay now for her to be the 6th leading scorer, but I don't imagine that being the case on Saturday. And I don't think that it's a gelling thing with her and like adjusting to everything that's going on, because obviously she's one of the team's leaders, team leaders. But I think that she just needs to knock down a couple more shots, get her feet underneath her earlier in the game. Because they're finding her early, and I think that she just needs to see the ball go through the bottom of the net, and then she'll be fine.
To that point, shooting 33%, 20% from 3. Obviously, that she is much better than that, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good point you bring up. On that front, she's shooting 5 threes a game, so it's not for a lack of it's not for a lack of opportunities. So that's a good point you made on that. Kate Koval.
Kate. Amazing.
30 minutes a game. She's getting increased minutes because Maddie's out and Liza Carlin's out. So she's getting a lot of minutes. 5.5 blocks a game. It's a lot. Feels like a lot. Averaging 13 and 13 essentially from her. What have you seen? Tell us about what you've seen so far from her and why she's been able to be so effective.
I've been watching Kate for a while because her and I actually played for the same AAU team. So I've been able to see Kate grow even before she got to Notre Dame, which is so cool. And I think that the impressive thing about her, like to note to your 5.5 blocks, is she just uses her body so well. And as a freshman, that's really impressive. Like a lot of times as like when freshmen come into like this high competitive level of basketball, like they don't know how to use their body that well. And then they foul a lot trying to attempt to block shots, and they come down just like a typical freshman does. But she just, her IQ is so good, and her ability to pass and be in the right areas is great. And she's also another one that I think is just so balanced. She's neutral. She brings such a good energy. And she's a great addition. I think, like, if I had to guess, I know that there's a lot of people out, but I think that they need Kate and they need those minutes from her. Because, I mean, she's proved that, like, she doesn't play like a freshman. Therefore, when that happens, your expectations are not going to be what a typical freshman would be. And I think that that's great because I know her well enough as a person that she's mature enough to handle those standards and expectations. So, I mean, she got one ACC Rookie of the Week, and I don't doubt that there's plenty of more of those coming.
Yeah, and she's, to your point about not fouling, she's averaging 2.5 fouls a game at 30 minutes. So she's been able to stay on the court, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's been important for them. But also, to your point, the maturity of like, hey, I'm not fouling people. The turnovers are up, right? So she's averaging 4 turnovers a game. But I think that to me is probably expected, right? When you have a freshman in there and they're using her as a focal point to try to move the ball as well.
Right.
She's averaging 3 assists a game. So like she's distributing the ball, right? And so if you're distributing the ball, you're going to have some mistakes in there from her. Averaging, like I said, 13 rebounds a game. 5.5 blocks. So that's 4 offensive rebounds a game. So many extra possessions. Like Notre Dame is averaging 16 offensive rebounds a game. That is a ton. That is so many extra possessions.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So there's that situation. They're shooting 39% from 3 right now. If you told me that continued, I'd say that's a Final Four situation, right? If not national champions. Emma Risch getting the shots up. 23 minutes a game. She's averaging 6 threes per game in her 23 minutes. That's exactly what you want, by the way. That's why she's in the game. That's what she is brought in to do. Get buckets, let it fly. She's shooting 35% right now. I think that has increased over the, she's played in the 4 games.
Totally.
More and more, she's starting to get more confident in doing that. That's basically their 7-player rotation right now. You still got Maddie Westbeld in the wings. You still got Liza Carlin in the wings. We'll see when they can come back. But it's so far so good. Dara, what is your kind of overall thought on this team? There's a lot of praise going around right now. Is there something that you feel like, as someone very close to the program who has high standards, there's something there you see like we need to get better at this? Like what is kind of, where are you at with that?
See, obviously, like this goes hand in hand with pushing the ball every single time and staying aggressive with your foot on the gas offensively every time, which is literally in Notre Dame women's basketball's DNA. I think at times they need to know when to pull it out and run a set. I've seen I've seen quick 3, like a 3 off of an offensive rebound, obviously love, right? But not all the time. I think that they just need to know when to slow down in certain situations. Like when, I don't know what game it was, but it was like, it's time and situation, like those kind of plays where maybe we didn't get a great shot and then we got a good look in transition, but we missed it. And then they go right back up right away. It's like, okay, take a deep breath, relax, and run a set. Like our coaches stay up all day and night looking for great plays and stuff for us to run. So run it. We have a ton of them, especially like, this is me saying this early on, especially when we're up by 30. Like, use it as a learning opportunity. Use it as a chance to get better at a specific set that you guys know that you'll be needing, maybe on Saturday, something like that. So as great as they are and as fast as they're playing, sometimes I'm like, guys, feels like I'm out there still. Like, relax, take a deep breath. But that's the only thing I've seen. And then just middle drives and guarding the ball a little bit better. Like some of them need to sit their ass down and guard, especially when they're fatigued. Like, you need to sit down and not allow a straight line drive to the basket, because then it causes help and rotations, and maybe it puts the post player in a position to come down and foul. None of that. It just, on the ball defense, one-on-one needs to be a little bit better.
And that's going to be a key against Juju Watkins coming up on Saturday. Like, you don't need her getting to the basket. That's definitely for sure.
You need to sit down when you're guarding Juju.
Yeah. You mentioned before about Olivia having slimmed down a little bit. I thought Hannah, I feel like she's been in the weight room, and like with men, I feel like that is bulk, right? But
Mhm.
for her, I feel like Hannah's more sinewy. I feel like she's a little bit slimmer. She's quicker to me. And I wanted to get kind of your thoughts. I don't know if it was just me noticing or if I was imagining it or what, but I watch her and I'm like, man, she's like a hair quicker than she was. And like quicker Hannah Hidalgo is kind of like a scary thing. But
Very,
I just kind of wanted to get your
very.
thoughts. Like I feel like she's put some work in on her body and she's really become like a more athletic player. I was wondering if you noticed that as
Yeah.
well.
I think that I've noticed a difference when she is driving and going into contact. Whereas like a
Mm,
lot of times last year, she would look for the contact. Like again, freshman adjusting to the game, and obviously she averaged what she averaged, carried the team last year. She's not on the floor as much after going up for a layup, looking for contact, which was I know something that they worked on with her in the off season and
mm.
like getting to the floater a little bit more. I've seen her stop in the paint and shoot it early instead of going all the way like into the trees, which is just growth. Like look at that from last year to this year. And then imagine, what she's going to continue to do. And she's still so young. I
Mhm.
mean, like her, as good as she is now, and like her upside is like a really scary thought.
Yeah. They've obviously got the big game coming up against USC. It's a
Yeah,
chance for a statement. This is
totally.
a big statement that they can make in LA on Saturday. What are your kind of early thoughts? I mean, I
Yeah.
think Notre Dame. To be honest, I expect a really good performance from them.
Hmm.
Um, and I do expect a victory. Right? They haven't played anyone near this caliber. Right? Um, USC's they've got some good players. So obviously they've got Juju Watkins. They've got Kiki Irifin. Kiki Irifin. She's a transfer from Stanford. Um,
Right.
those are top line players, right? They haven't been as good 1 through 5 or 6 as they have been in the past. They're not shooting it as well. Juju's not having a great shooting season so far, but like you kind of count on a good performance in a big game like this from her. She's
Hmm.
that quality player.
Totally.
What are your thoughts going into this game on Saturday?
Yeah. I think that obviously she'll be the main focus.
Hmm.
And then you also have to understand, like, she's like, I like to call her, like, she's a hooper, a real hooper.
Hmm.
She's going to get hers. She's
Yeah,
going to score the ball no matter what. She's going to rise up to the occasion, like, because it's in her blood, it's in her DNA. Um, but I think that you need to make her attempt tough shots. And like normally someone would say, well, like turn her into a passer. I don't think that like that's not her game. Like even when you
yeah,
try to like turn her into a passer, she's persistent in her footwork. She'll get in the paint, then she'll move, she'll go up and under. So I think that you just need to make her take unorthodox shots and maybe throw some different defenses out there. Like maybe go triangle and two on her and Kiki and then everybody else in help. And I think that having Leah too will help because I think she can, well, if she's playing, because she
yeah. We're
sat
gonna
out,
have to see. We're
right?
gonna have to see. It looked like she had like
Yeah.
a little bit of a head injury. Now there has been a good amount of time in
Yeah.
between the injury when that happened, the head injury, and when the game will take place. Notre Dame was fortunate in that regard, but we do have to see. We don't know what her status is, so that's going to be a big key to this.
Yeah. Okay, well, that changes what I was going to say then. Because I think that Kiki does win the foot race over Kate.
Hmm.
So maybe we can go some zone, maybe a box and one, maybe Sonia doesn't leave Juju. I don't know. I'd really like to see like what their game plan is on Saturday.
Yeah,
Because it's like she's just such a good scorer.
yeah,
She's gonna get her. So it's like then how do you handle the rest? But that's where I think we do have the advantage is that when you look at handling the rest, I do believe that we are better 1 through 5 in there 1 through 5.
yeah. Yeah. It is a
Yeah,
big key that Leah too is going to play. So we'll see because with Liza out and Maddie out, like those are your front line options, right? So
right.
there's not a ton of depth inside right now for Notre Dame just due to the injuries. So we'll have to see. I'm going to be there, like I said. I'm going to be there covering it, so I'll cover that, and then Dara and I will be back, and we'll talk about what we see there, and kind of react to a win. Obviously, what will that do to the team, right? Obviously, that they're ranked 6th now. They would jump way up after a victory against USC on the road. And then if a loss, how that manifests itself, and what it says going forward about the team. So we're going to be back for that. That's going to do it for today's show. Please, everyone, if you like this show, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. So whenever it is we release a show, we'll be back very soon to talk about this game, the game coming up, and then the rest of the season. So we're happy to be back, Dara. We're finally, we have our feet under us, and we're ready to do it. So that'll be it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Dara, what are we going to do in the meantime?
Keep getting buckets.